Welcome, and thank you for coming by. If this is your first time here, I'll introduce myself. My name is Kaye. I'm a graphic designer as well as an app developer, radio DJ, video producer, among other things. And it's not so much that I'm a workaholic as much as I love all the things that I do. So today I'm going to share a little bit because I see something that is very necessary in the especially the small YouTubers community, and that is promotion. So one of the things that can really help, it's like the number one tip or trick that I could give you as far as what the algorithm wants from YouTube to really project your stuff, through the algorithm and give you some real favoritism, is starting a session. And what that means is to bring somebody in from outside of YouTube, somebody that wasn't already on YouTube. You bring them in to your content and then keep them there as long as you can. Starting the session is very, very important. It's extremely easy to do, but it's something that I don't find is talked about often enough. And so, just to clarify, what I'm talking about with that is if somebody hops on to their YouTube, whether it's on their phone or on their computer or anything else, and you might have had a conversation with them and said, "Hey, I have a YouTube channel, why don't you check it out?" They think about it, either they do it right in front of you or they do it later that day after dinner, something like that. They hop on YouTube and they type in your name and they go to your content. That's not what I mean. That's not starting a session. They were already on YouTube as soon as they opened it up. Starting a session means that you're giving them either a link to your content online or something offline that allows them to go directly to your content. One of the simple ways of doing this is with a business card, and I'm going to design some of those right now. What I'm going to do is actually make a tutorial video, but I'm going to let you watch along with me and see what we're doing. And then later, after we're done today, I will chop up everything that I've done into a proper tutorial, which I will publish again on YouTube. And that will allow you, if you want to design not only YouTube business cards, but business cards for just about anything. So hopefully you can get some value out of this. I certainly expect that you will, especially whether you're a small YouTuber or whether you're interested in pumping up your Instagram, your Snap, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, or any of those things. All of the different social media platforms like the same thing. They want you starting a session. So thank you very much for coming in. Michael Ankers, thank you. Jeff, glad you glad you made it in. Oh, you're in Pattaya already. I wasn't thinking of that because I knew today you were going to Pattaya, but I wasn't sure of the time. So going out to grab some food. Luckily, Jeff already knows his way around, so he's living the dream over there in Pattaya right now. Kristen, thank you for coming by. I love you very much, and especially because you're so supportive of me. Us Never Them, thank you. It's nice to see you again. Oh, am I going to pronounce this right? Pitch in Haiti. Thank you for coming by and checking this out. Pattaya MD, thanks for coming by. Nice time, thank you. And the TMC family. Now, it's funny because you were into the small YouTuber community long before I was. So you don't get to call me your A1 from day one, but I can call you my A1 from day one because TMC is one of the most supportive people that I've, first of all, ever met for anybody, but certainly towards me. We've got a lot of things in the works, and I'm very happy to see you here as well. So, oh, Jeff, you're on Walking Street right now. So Jeff's in Pattaya, Thailand, which is a magical city. It's unbelievable. And he's 12 hours away from me. I'm in Niagara Falls, Canada, which is the Eastern time zone. Jeff is 12 hours away. So for me, I'm looking at about noon right now. Jeff is 12 hours away. So he's enjoying his time. And Madge, thank you for coming by again. Nice to see you. So, excuse me, I'm just going to step aside for 2 seconds here, and I'll come back and I'll get working on Photoshop. All right, time to get to work. So, the first thing that I'm going to do is show you what we're working on, and I have got a file which I was working on recently that I made the thumbnail with. This is what gave me the concept for making the video that I'm doing today. So this is a business card. That's the back of it. I wonder what the luck is that I'm going to be able to find. Maybe I could find Jeff's. If I look in my project folder here. The reason I have Lucy's YouTube page up there, Sincerely A Lucy, I'm going to be doing a bit of a talk show with her in a few hours. So 2 p.m. Central Time, which it should be about 3 p.m. for me if I'm right. And we're just going to have a little bit of banter together and talk YouTube and a few other things. So let me see if I can find this card for Jeff. Got so many files for his stuff. And forgive me for not preparing the back of this card. There it is. So there's the front of the card. As you saw, this is something that I'm going to be designing today. I'll start from scratch. And then this is what the back of the card will look like. Now, Jeff and I both have our custom URL set, and that's very important as well. So I'm going to put those on there. And Izzy, thanks for coming by. I'm just checking over at the chat once in a while. Feel free, everybody, to, of course, chat amongst yourselves. And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, feel free to connect. Everybody in here is somebody that I know already from the not too distant past, as far as different live streams and things like that. So the custom URL that I was talking about is very important, in my opinion, because it allows somebody to catch you very quickly. So, for instance, mine, and I'll just show you what I'm talking about, is this, Kevin Kaye, my name. Now, I have the name Kevin Kaye on most of the social networks. The only other way you might find it, not that it matters, but if you wanted to search me out, would be DJ Kevin Kaye or something like that. I used to be a DJ, and some of my stuff like MySpace and Pinterest and stuff, I didn't get the name fast enough. So anyway, the custom URL is a great way for somebody to be able to type it in if they want to. And then on the back of the card, you see it's very simple, very basic, and there's a lot of reason for that. But the QR code that we have here works with just about everybody's phones now. As soon as you point your camera at it, it knows what to do. And this is what I was talking about when I was mentioning starting a session. If you give something like this, it doesn't have to be a business card. It could be a piece of paper. It could be a flyer. You could give it to people online. It doesn't matter. But if they scan this code and get to your page, first of all, it's a special one that's got a addition to the URL, and I'm going to show you what that is. So if I look at Lucy's here, and I was going to make a link for her page, and I was going to send that to somebody, I would put a question mark, and hopefully you can make this out on the screen well enough, and then I would put sub_confirmation equals 1. And what that does, that's a special code that tells the back end of YouTube, when somebody goes to that URL, take this extra piece of information, which is sub_confirmation equals 1, plug it into the database, and do something based on that. What that's going to do is, for somebody hitting your channel for the first time who's not already subscribed, as soon as they get there, it's going to pop up a window that says, "Are you sure you want to subscribe?" And the person has no recourse but to say yes or no at that time, So you got a 50% chance or better that they're going to say yes, you're going to get a subscriber before they even hit your page. So that's the reason why I want to make sure that that code gets in the end of the URL. So while I'm designing the business card, the QR code that you see here will have, for instance, Jeff's construction company's channel's URL, which is youtube.com/doitallceiling, the name of his company, and then the question mark sub_confirmation equals 1. So hopefully that all makes sense the way that I'm explaining it. But in my opinion, it's very important because while we're designing a business card, these are intended to be printed. I happen to be a print broker, and what that means is that I get the same deal with a trade printer that does not work with the public. They work with print shops and printing franchises, and this is where all the print shops order their print materials from. I get to order the same way. That's a long story. I'm not going to get too far into that. Maybe someday I'll make a video about it. Either way, I get the privilege of being able to print at the same rate that the print shops do. So when you're out there, like let's say paying for business cards $20-25, I get the same price that the print shops do, so I get to sell them just as cheaply or cheaper than the print shops because I don't have a print shop. I don't have to pay for all the rent or bricks and mortar and everything else. So Liz, thanks for coming by. I really appreciate you thumbs up the video. I see most of you have done that. So thank you again for that. And I'm just reading Jeff's text here. Oh, you didn't bring enough cards to Thailand. Yeah, you know, you gotta see, Jeff's on vacation. When you're packing your luggage, you gotta decide what's important, right? So obviously, like, you need everything that you need. You're very limited when you're taking flights, and he's taking a number because he's going to a couple of different countries. So you can't bring all the business cards in the world that you want, but as long as you've got some and as long as you're giving them out, then that'll be fine. And like I said, that really helps because you're starting sessions, which is what the whole point of this thing is. So it's time for me to get working on my tutorial. So I'm going to leave these concepts here and I'm going to start a new one. So as I go on this, I'm actually in the process of making a tutorial video. So if you hang out with me for a while, you're going to get to see all my bloopers and mistakes and backtracking and things like that while I make this video. Later, I will take this entire 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, whatever it turns into, and I will chop it down into what I hope will be a 10-minute tutorial so that if you want to do this kind of thing for yourself, you can easily. So I just want to disclaim one more time and say that you don't have to use Photoshop. I'm using Photoshop because I use it every day, but you certainly don't have to. All I'm going over today is the concepts of how to get this particular image. Very simple, very basic, and the reason for that is because I come from a marketing background, and the reason why I want something so simple where you might feel inclined to start putting your Instagram on there and your Facebook and your Twitter and everything else, we want these cards to do one thing, and that is to get somebody onto our YouTube channel. That's it. So the fact that we get a little bonus in that we'll probably get a subscriber more often than not as soon as they get there, that's just a bonus. But the idea is let's get somebody who has not been on your channel onto your channel. And that's it. Now, to hand a business card to somebody, you're going to have a conversation with them anyway. They will feel like they already know you. And in my opinion, they'll be inclined to subscribe either way. But again, we just want these cards to do one specific thing. So, as maybe what I'll do is I'll close these out. I've got them in my recent files list. Of course, my computer's not the newest one in the world, so that's going to choke for a second and give me the rainbow pinwheel. All Mac users love that. I'm not going to save the whatever changes it thinks I made to that, and I will get into the making of the video. So today we're designing See what I mean about the bloopers and the backtracking? This happens all the time. One of these days I'll make a blooper video. I'm hoping to do it and release it for you guys for April 1st. I think that'll be kind of amusing. So, today I'm going to show you how easy it can be to design your own YouTube business card. I wasn't looking at the camera, so I'll do it again. Today I'm going to show you how easy it can be to design your own YouTube business card. And that's it. If you can imagine how the video will go, I will play my intro with the funky beats and everything else. Then I will come back. Welcome back. I'm Kevin Kaye from kevinkaye.com, and on this channel I do tutorial videos, product reviews, unboxings, and much, much more. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. That's something that I do at on almost every video at the beginning. So if you've seen my other videos, you know what I'm talking about. And that is just meant to lead in anybody who hasn't seen me before. Hopefully they are going to get a little bit of an introduction as to what I might be about. And maybe I can entice a subscription right away before the video even gets rolling. And that's all that that's for. So, now, I'm not going to be so perfectly structured because I really don't know how this is going to go. But this is flying by the seat of our pants. I'm actually going to turn the camera off now because we don't need it. There we go. You don't need to use Photoshop to design your business cards. I'm using Photoshop because I do every day, but we're going to go over some concepts that you can use in any graphic design program that you like to use. If you're looking for a free option online, I prefer Canva, C-A-N-V-A. And it's an app that anybody can use. They have it available for your phones, for your tablets, and as a website. And you can design just about anything that you want for free. They have tons of templates and lots of different text and special effects that you can use. And like I said, it's all free. So if you're looking for a free option, that's a good one. I'm using Photoshop because I know it and I use it every day. So if you use Photoshop, it'll be easy to follow along. The first thing we're going to do is start a new file. And this is very important to go over a few of these settings as we begin. So the first thing I'm going to notice is that we're working in the color mode, and mine is set to RGB because I do so much online stuff that that's okay. But we need CMYK. That stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And that is the standard for printing. So we want our file in CMYK color. You can see our resolution is 300 pixels per inch. That's very important for print. Your printer may have a slightly different requirement. 150 might be acceptable. You might be able to go up much higher, but 300 is the standard, and it should be good enough for just about anybody. It certainly is good enough for what we're doing today. You can see that I've got my dimensions set at 1920 by 1080, which means that's because I was working on the thumbnail for this particular video last night. But I'm going to have to change this, and I'm going to switch it to inches, and I'm going to show you the exact dimensions that you're going to need. So a business card, a standard one, is 2 inches by 3.5 inches. And what you need to do as well, though, if you imagine when a business card is being printed, they're being printed on massive sheets where there could be any number of business cards altogether. And then it's one of the person's jobs at the print shop to cut those, so you have a very large piece of cardstock paper, and that's where your business card is printed. It's somebody's job to cut those down into the business cards that you're going to use. Those are 2 by 3.5. We're going to add a little more space, and every printer that I have encountered wants an extra 1/4 inch. And the reason for that, you want 1/8 of an inch around every side of the business card or whatever you're printing. And the reason why is for you're giving a little bit of leeway in the case of mistake that might be made by either the paper slipping or the knife slipping or whatever else might happen while they're cutting. So we are going to do a width of 3.75 instead of 3.5, and we are going to do 2.25 instead of 2. And I'm going to throw some guides on here as soon as we're ready, and you'll see what I'm talking about a little bit more. So there's our blank file. If you're using Photoshop, yours might look a little bit differently, but that's okay. You can start walking in with different backgrounds the way I am here. You can just draw a rectangle. I'm going to make this one red, but I'm going to try to make it a true red in the, I want to take off my only web colors here. So I want magenta and yellow together to be 100 values for CMYK, and that gives me the perfect printing red. That's as red as it can get, and YouTube likes as red as it can get. So that's our background layer. I am going to lock it. There we go. And now when I select it, I don't run a risk of moving that. So I'm going to open up my reference file here. This is the one. This is what I'm going to recreate. I'm not going to use my own channel or my picture this time. I'm going to use one from a friend of mine, Lucy, who I was talking about earlier, because I'm going to be on a live with her later today. So she's just fresh in my mind, and somebody who I'm sure won't mind me using her stuff. It's a little bit of promotion there. Now the first thing I need is the picture that we're going to use, and we'll design everything else outside of that. And I did say we were going to add some guides, so I'm going to add those in right now. So I want those to be, I want inches here and not pixels. And I am going to drag down, you'll see this is 1/8 of an inch. We can drop a guide there, we can drop a guide 1/8 inch there. We'll drop one 1/8 of an inch from the back and 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. Now these don't have to be absolutely precise because we're staying away from them anyway. It's just for our own reference. Now typically you cannot put any text or images or anything that's important on the business card within another 1/8 of an inch from each side. So you can see the size of our card is starting to disappear right away, but this is what makes them so aesthetically pleasing. After they've been cut, hopefully around these outer guide marks, if they're fairly precise when they're cut, then you've got a lot of space on the side. They call it white space, even though here we're using red. And it really helps, especially from a marketing perspective. So let's look at our other card. We'll come back. Okay, I'm going to leave it like this for now. We're going to make sure no text or images are going to go within these guides. That's easy enough. Now, we're going to go over to our YouTube page, and you can do this on your own. Now, I'm using Chrome on a Mac, but if you're using Chrome at all, it should work just as easily on yours. When I right-click on her profile picture here, and I say Open Image in New Tab, we're going to see that this image is so easy to save. I'm just going to leave it the way it is for now. Unnamed is fine. I know what it is. We'll close this out because we don't need it anymore. And forgive me, Iggy, I'm not really doing a good job of scanning the chat today. But anyone have ideas for thumbnails? If you want to just elaborate on that for a quick second, maybe I can force my 2 cents of opinion on you because I work on them all the time. Just let me know exactly what you mean by ideas for thumbnails. I love helping, and certainly I'd be willing to do tutorial videos for that as well. There's so many different things you can do with thumbnails, and it's an important part of everything that we do with our YouTube channels all the time. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to shouldn't have done it the way I did. I have my own way of working, and I'll show you what I was just about to do, not that it matters. So what I would do is I would go to the file I just downloaded, right click, open with, and go to Photoshop. But I know not everybody understands that that's available, or people don't do that by habit. So instead we will go File, Open. There's the file that I just downloaded, open, and I am going to double click so that it becomes a regular layer, and I am going to drag it onto our new business card design. Now that looks much bigger than I thought it was going to be. Let me see what the size of this is. If I go to Edit, Transform, and Scale, and I have to change these to pixels, 404. Oh, okay, I see. Mine is not square. So the height is 289. So you can see that inside my selection box here, the white circle that I've got surrounding the photo, which is doing a little, I've got a masking trick going on, and I'll show you how to do that. I want the circle a little bit bigger than, I want it to cut the photo just barely, because I want to know mathematically that there is no space between the picture and the white border there. So Izzy's Life, if you don't mind, have a look at that program that I was talking to you about called Canva. It's available on the computer, it's available as an app on your phone, and that's something that you can use for free. You can also have a look at, I'll just direct you to my own channel. There's a lot of great channels out there that have good thumbnails, and really it's not like anybody owns the trademarks to their designs and stuff like that. They're all just concepts. So certainly if you see anything on any of the channels that are mine or that I manage, you can check my own. And on the right hand side of my channel main page is a list of featured channels. Why don't I just show you what I'm talking about. Could have done that easier, but it doesn't matter. On the right hand side of my channel page, I have mine laid out with featured channels. And so I'll go through them quickly. Tuber Chat is something brand new. I haven't done much with that yet. Niagara Insider also. Party 109 FM is one of mine, but I also have a lot of these. Anything you see on my own personal channel that's a song, I actually put it as a playlist at the bottom. These are thumbnails that I did that are very, simple, but eye-catching enough. That has a lot of those. Do It All Ceiling, Jeff Lepard. So Jeff Lepard is my #1 client, if you want to put it that way. He has more than 2 channels, but let's just say for now, he's got Jeff Lepard, he's got Do It All Ceiling, and I did all the thumbnail work on those, so feel free to check those out as well. My own personal channel has a variety, and the reason why is because I do a lot of testing. So, you see the Small YouTubers Connect. This one here, this Euromix thing, is not something I designed. That's from an old CD cover from years ago that somebody else did. But it's bright and, eye-catching, so that's fine. You'll see a lot of concepts here. So maybe these are something that can give you a little bit of inspiration. And then, like I said, with that Canva program that I was talking about, you might be able to get something there. A very simple way of doing thumbnails that are eye-catching, for instance, might be something like this. So on Jeff's Do It All Ceiling, you can see that we've got some old videos here. These are from 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago. These are the way that I was originally doing his thumbnails. This is in the first year that I was doing YouTube, and I had just started. We had both just started, but this is when I had started with the concept of like, what should I do about thumbnails and this and that. When I later went to, he decided to open up a second channel, which is very dedicated only to his work. So he has a personal channel with all kinds of stuff and a dedicated work channel now. These are the thumbnails that I designed for his work channel, and you can see that they're very, very simple. However, in my opinion, they get across the message that we want. It's construction, and we do a lot of like road work, line painting, and things like this, hence the black and yellow. But it's just a picture of them that's cut off with a logo on top and 2 words. Very simple, and they're all the same. So I like them, but you know, it's up to you what you think is a good idea. There's a million great things. You can also just type in, what if we go on Google and we just type in beautiful thumbnails YouTube. We'll go on images. Okay, so here, how to make an attractive thumbnail. There's a lot of big channels that I follow as well, like Nick Nimmin here is one, Sean Cannell from Think Media is here, Sunny Lenarduzzi is here. Social Media Examiner is a go-to site for me. It's the #1 site that I follow for all my social media stuff, and they do it as well. So you can bet that that's probably a fantastic video right there, if that's a video or I don't know if it's an article. And there's lots of resources for finding lots of good thumbnails. Now, Nick Nimmin, that's somebody, these are what all his thumbnails look like. They're great. Of course, Sean Cannell has good thumbnails. Sunny Lenarduzzi has good ones, even better than this. The overall concept of Social Media Examiner is spectacular. Look at, oh, that's not, I thought that was somebody that I knew, but, you know, these are like colorful and bright. Here's a big colorful bright thing, and she's referencing Canva. So hopefully this helps a little bit, Izzy, and leads you in a bit of a right direction. Nida, thank you for coming by. And I will drop a bit of this stuff and get back to my tutorial. Hopefully I haven't lost my place too much. So what I was looking at was, when I go back to edit, transform, and scale, I want to know, so this is 289 pixels high, that photo. Let's see what this one is. This one is 288 pixels high and pixels wide. And I'm going to drop another guide right in my center. There it is, it snaps for me. And I want that picture centered. I'm going to drop it down after. But for right now, I need to know that that's 288 pixels by 288 pixels. So, hopefully I remember what I'm doing here properly. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a circle. I want it exact size, so I'm going to make it 287 by 287. And that's going to be just, oh, I made a square. The next thing that I'm going to do is make a circle that we're going to use for our mask around our picture, and I'll show you what that is in just a moment. When I click here, I can do 287 by 287, because you remember I was saying I want the circle to be slightly, just barely slightly smaller than the picture itself. I'm going to pump this up to, let's say, 130, and I'm going to hit Control semicolon, and that's going to get my guides out of here for a second so they're not bothering me. Going to try to center. If you want to center, you can select both of these layers, and you can go to Layer, Align, Vertical Centers, Layer, Align, Horizontal Centers. Now I know that they're exact. So when I put my guides back on, they happen to be exactly on my center guide there, which makes me really happy. Now, if I remember how to do this, I've got to move my picture above the circle. I'm going to create clipping mask, and now we have our circle. And that's exactly what we need. Now, I'm going to go back to my picture here, and I'm going to see what I did. That ellipse is its own thing. So I'm going to take these and turn them into a smart object. It might not be necessary right now, but I'm doing it anyway. And what I'm going to do, okay, actually, I'm going to undo that. I don't want that. So as I look through, Mysterious, thanks for coming by. Izzy, you're welcome. I hope that just gives you a little bit of concept. You know what I'll do? One of these days, hopefully not too far in the distant future, I'll make a tutorial about some thumbnails, and maybe I'll do a few at a time, and then I'll make the templates available. So people certainly can copy. I'd love it if everybody would just copy me for free, but I will see what else I can do about that. So Rose, thank you for coming by. My live broadcast today is not going to have anywhere near the excitement that somebody like Jeff live in Thailand is going to have. But basically what I'm doing is just taking you through my process for making a tutorial video. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, so forgive me for all the self-promotion, but I did just do a tutorial video the other day for how to promote your YouTube videos on Instagram. So I'll just show you. So I haven't done too many tutorials yet, although I expect to do lots. And the reason why is because I do this kind of stuff all the time, basically every day. And I want to make sure that everybody can benefit from whatever knowledge I have. So there's the video I was talking about, YouTube, Instagram posting. So maybe you can find that useful. I'm just getting into these tutorials, but I thought it would be nice if anybody else was going to get into making tutorial videos. I'll show you my process, and then maybe you can copy and do that kind of thing as well. So Mysterious, you're asking about my weekend. Thank you very much. It's actually great. So I spent quite a bit of time with my girlfriend and her daughter. We all live together, my stepdaughter. And we did something interesting this weekend. I don't play a lot of poker, but I do enjoy it, just as a game, not so much gambling or anything like that. And so we spent a couple of nights, several hours. I taught them how to play Texas Hold'em. So we've been having like little family game nights for a couple of hours here and there. And that's just outside of work and, you know, a little bit of shopping. So a basically laid back weekend, but thank you for asking. So hopefully your weekend was good as well. And for everybody who's in the chat right now. So forgive me because I tend to get distracted and sidetracked very easily. But we are going to now add our first ring. Okay, let me think about how I want to do this. Yeah, of course Kristen says poker's fun when she wins. So I'm going to get into the... I gotta think. See, I keep forgetting. I'm just yapping, but I'm forgetting that I'm making a tutorial. Now, the good news is about making a tutorial like I am right now, I've taken my camera off, but what that allows me to do is go back, and if I'm unhappy with any of the audio, I can just voice over afterwards. And actually, that's how I did the Instagram tutorial. I did the whole tutorial without talking over it, and then I spoke over it after, just to describe what I was doing so it would be accurate. Yeah, I used to play Texas Hold'em. I used to play like Poker Stars, let's say. I used to be a DJ, so what I would do is I'd show up at a nightclub, and I would play from about 10 p.m. to midnight. In the Toronto area, our drinking hours end at about 2 a.m., and things don't really start happening in the bigger nightclubs and the bigger bars until about 12 o'clock. So I'm able to DJ passively while I was playing Poker Stars, and right around midnight I'd play like a 2-hour tournament and this and that, but never for big money or anything like that. I'm not a gambler. I just like the game of poker. So I understand a lot of people do, Izzy as well. Anyway, that's what's with that, is just something we could do as a family. I really love all family time and just, you know, kind of hanging out and playing games and stuff like that. Jasilla, thank you for coming by. So I'm going to continue on the tutorial now. The next thing that I'm going to do is start adding our white border that we saw in our reference video. And what I do for that is double click on the layer of the ellipse, and I am going to add a stroke. And there you see it pops in right away. When I go into the details, I'm going to make it white, and the reason why is because we know we're going to put a black border around it afterwards. And I'm just going to increase the size of this. Now I want this nice and thick, so we'll try 20 pixels for now and see how we feel about that. I'll go back to my reference file and see if I like it. So 20 might be excessive, but I'll leave it like this for now. And what we'll do is now we'll convert to, well, I got to select both my layers here. I'm going to convert to a smart object. Now, to edit that, you're just going to right click, edit contents. It'll give you a little warning here, and it opens it up, and now you can edit just that piece. You can fix your ellipse, you can adjust your stroke, change the color if you want, or any of that stuff, and any changes that you make will be reflected back here in the file. What that allows me to do is now add a second stroke onto that ring, and I'm going to make this one 10. I might change the look of this because it's looking a little bit thick, I'm not sure. Although, when you're printing something on a business card, a lot of times you're going to do things that seem too thick or too bold, and they're likely not. My biggest mistake all the time is printing something that is not thick enough. So I'm going to put my guides back on, and you see we're way over that text safe guide that I was talking about earlier. So I'm just going to shift and, actually I'm going to put this over one. I'm going to shift down, 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 and that puts me back under the line, and that's good enough for right now. So I am going to, forgive me, I'm just going to have a look at the chat. Oh, is Melanie the moderator in here? Did I not see Melanie come in? I see, oh, there you are. Ah, Melanie, I'm happy to see you. Thank you very much. I just saw Jasilla saying hello to you, so it's nice to see you coming by. I'm in the middle of making this tutorial video. Okay, I'll leave the chat alone. So now we've got the basics of the front of our card ready to go. So the next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to make some text like this and this here. Now, you may have other ideas. Of course, you certainly don't have to follow what I'm doing. You can make your cards the way that you want. But since I do have a marketing background, I just want to force my opinion on you and say the purpose of the cards that I'm designing today are to be very clear that it's a YouTube card. When somebody puts this in their pocket after speaking to you and pulls it back out, they're going to remember that it's YouTube. First of all, the word YouTube is going to be on it, likely. And then secondly, the fact that it's red. So there's not going to be really any mistake in their mind as to what the purpose of this card is. And then hopefully they're going to get right to your channel. And like I said, we're going to pull a trick on the back of the card, which I'd put away. Let's have a look at that again. There's the back of our card, even though this is white, but we've got our big red play button, because it's always okay to take logos from major corporations and put them on our print materials for free. And then we've got our QR code, and if you've got your custom URL set, you're going to put it there. Now, if you don't have a custom URL set, I have an idea for what you can put there, but let's get into the text right now. So I'm just going to have a quick look over at the chat. Melanie, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much again. I appreciate you saying that. And then, yeah, absolutely. If Izzy, I live in Niagara Falls now, but I am from Toronto. So if you happen to be going to Toronto, I'm all about any kind of collaborations at all. So it'd be certainly a great idea to hook up, even just to meet, let alone do any collaborations. It's just that that's always on my mind. But yeah, I appreciate that as a thought. And I've spent a lot of time in Buffalo, so I'm really just over across the border anyway. But by all means, please, if you're coming by, contact me anyway. I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, email, and everything else, and I'm pretty easy to find. So stay in touch over that, because I'd love to link up. So as I continue on with the tutorial, what I'll do now is start adding in some text. I'm going to put my guides in just to give me an idea of what I'm doing. And all I'm going to do is click the text, drop in the middle here, and I'm going to save you a little bit of a headache, and make sure that your paragraph is already centered, because we're going to be centering our text. You certainly don't have to. And please notice also, I'm using the font Roboto, and I'm using bold. On business cards, I'm always using bold. But Roboto is the font which you can get from Google Fonts if you don't already have it. It is a font that Google seems to want to use for almost everything, particularly Android. So it is fine for what we're doing. So I just knocked out my layer, and I don't know how to get that back. So I'll do it again. The next step is to start adding our text. So I've already got my font selected. That's Roboto, which is available from Google Fonts for free. I'm using bold because I always do. We'll worry about the size after we get some text on the screen. And I'm going to make sure that my paragraph is centered, just to save me a little bit of a headache laying this out afterwards. I click on the text, click anywhere on the background, and now I am going to add the name of the channel. We're using Sincerely a Lucy today, just because I am going to be on another live with her later on today, and so she's fresh in my mind, and she's somebody who I'm quite sure won't mind me using her stuff. So let me have a look at the reference file, and then we'll look at the one we're looking at now. I'm going to pump up the, I'm going to knock this back down to 100 so that we can check. So I dropped the text down. I can actually leave that bigger. And this is what I was talking about when I said I often make the mistake of making things too small when it's a business card. So don't be afraid to make it larger. And you can always print a piece of paper for yourself to see what it's going to look like before you actually commit to printing anything with a printer. Very good. And then we are going to add another bit of text, and we're going to add in our YouTube custom URL. Now this text I'm going to make black, and I am also going to knock the point size down quite a bit. Let me see if that kind of matches what we're doing. I'm going to make it even smaller. And that should be closer to what I was looking at. Now, we are at our text safe line here. Our cut safe line, as I was mentioning, is down here. So we're very safe from that. But we want to space these out so that they're aesthetically pleasing. So what I tend to do is I will knock this right up against the one above. I happen to know that that is one shift click down about 10 pixels. And then I'm going to line this one up with that one. try to make sure that they're centered. And then I'm going to start knocking these down. I'm going to measure how many pixels it is down to my text safe line here. Now you might do this differently. You certainly don't have to do what I'm doing. This is how I do it. I know it's annoying, but for some reason I like doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just going to put that back up over the line there, close enough. Now, since that one dropped down by 6, I can drop this one down by 3, and now I'll have a look at how that looks. Now, I don't like it because I think there's too much space between everything. So I'm going to click on my photo, drop it down 1, click on my text down here, drop up 1. And there we have a good enough, if you, for lack of a better term, business card. I'm just going to check my messages here. I had asked Lucy earlier, but I may not get to her in time, whether she has her custom URL sent. If she doesn't, okay, she hasn't gotten back to me yet. If you don't, then you can certainly do something else. I think it's ideal to have your custom URL listed here like this, but that's just my opinion. So you decide what's right for you. What I will say, I do come from a marketing background, so if you're unsure, I'd love it if you'd take my advice and give it a try. But you're certainly free to do whatever you want. Now, since we don't have a custom URL for Sincerely a Lucy right now, I can look at her channel page and I can see what is important to her. Now, she likes to say she does mukbangs, vlogs, and challenges. So I'm going to put those on her card. So I will put mukbangs, vlogs, challenges. And I like to use bullets here instead of dashes like this. I just think it looks nicer. But again, that's just another opinion. Let's get to our bullet operator. And then I can copy this one, put it in there, and there we go. So I've managed to drag almost an hour out of something that can take you probably 5 minutes. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of, I don't want to say motivation, but maybe inspiration for something you can design so simply. And I think it's absolutely effective. Now this is just the front of the card. We're going to get into the back in just a second, and I'm going to start that from scratch as well so that you can see what we do. So there's my reference. This is just Lucy's picture, but I don't need it like this anymore. The concept card, I don't need that anymore. And there's our card in the template that we're designing today. So I'm going to grab myself a drink for a second here. Izzy, you say you tried to get your custom URL for months now and it's not working. I wonder what the reason for that could be. Wonder if I remember where that is. I do a lot more typing than I need to, I know. Let's just have a look in the studio and see if we can help Izzy out for a second. Not that you need to help, I'm just saying, let's have a look and maybe I can figure out what might be the problem. Now, why don't I remember where this is? It's not monetization, settings, channel. I think it's in advanced settings, status and features. So I don't have my 1,000 subscribers yet. That's why I'm not on my personal channel anyway. So that's why I don't have the monetization. So I have a custom URL, but this is where you should be able to find your thing. Let's have a look at Izzy's channel just for a second. Can I get around to where my stream is? what have I got here that's making noise? Oh, I meant to, okay, let me get the volume off of that. Okay, so 418 subscribers. So yeah, you should be well in the well into the ability of being able to get that. So yeah, I'm sorry that you're having trouble with it. I hope you can get that working. And again, for everybody who's watching right now, by all means, if you know what I'm talking about, go ahead and connect with each other. A couple of the people may not know, because this is not a growth stream today. There could be other people in the chat that don't really know, like they're not into growth streams, or they don't know what I'm talking about when I say connect. I just noticed Izzy, you're asking Patea to connect, and I'm not sure that they will, because that's not how I met Patea. Patea came to me through Jeff Lepard, who happens to be on vacation right now in Pattaya, Thailand. And Fun Size, thanks for coming by. So the reason why I go on about the connecting and the growth stream and stuff like that is just please be patient with everybody, because not everybody is doing the things that we all do in the live streams, which is connecting with people. But if you're certainly welcome to if you'd like to. And there's a lot of great people in here that I would suggest at least checking out and maybe hooking up with. So Fun Size, thanks for coming by. Fun Size is one of the most supportive channels I've ever seen. These guys are well on their way past their 1,000 subscribers, and yet they still come back. They still come and check out our stuff. They still like, they still comment. It amazes me how generous some people are with their time, and Fun Size is one of those channels. So what we're doing today is, you can hear me, but for some reason can't get video working. If anybody's having any trouble with any of the stuff that I'm doing right now, like if the video's not working or the audio, if you don't mind just letting me know. But I'm assuming everything's fine because it's working for me. I've got a second window open here where I'm using YouTube just to make sure that my stream is running and everything should be fine. So I don't know what's up with that, Jeff. And then, forgive me, so what we're going to do now is get into the second half of the tutorial, which is working on the back of our card. So here's the back of the reference card that we're using. And this is very, very simple. But we're going to get to what we need so that we can lay this out. I got to find that play button again so that I can show you where to get it from. I'm not sure. And we're going to put this together in a new card. So we make a new file, and luckily my settings are already there from the last side of the card that we were working on. So we've got our 3.75 by 2.75, okay. And for the back, I'm just going to use white. I'm always going to use white for that because of the QR code. That's the real important part here. Let's make this white, and then let's lock it because we don't need that moving around. The other thing too is the red play button really stands out, so that again is going to, in somebody's mind, remind them this is a YouTube card. This is a YouTube channel that they need to be checking out. So let's go look for the Google YouTube forget if they call it resources like Apple does. Brand resources, YouTube. Here we go. Logos and colors, download full bright, load down safe space. Full color icon. YouTube full color icon just goes into my downloads. So this one looks like it might be a little bit different than the one I put on the reference card. But I had actually done that a while ago. I've done that like a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago. And it's the, you can see there's just a little bit of shading on it and this and that. We'll see what we come up with here. So again, I was going to do the way that I always do, There's my YouTube. I have to unzip it. So I just double click and Mac does it for me. There's my print. Oh, I don't need this. I need... Oh, look at what they've given us here. Wow. Okay, there's a handful of resources in here, so that's cool. Forgive me, I'm just looking at this stuff because I haven't really gone through it. So all we want is that, but they've got some other cool stuff here. That looks almost like a Apple iOS icon. This looks like an Android icon to me. And then here we go. This is what we want. So I got to remember where this is. 24. File. Open. We go into downloads. YouTube full color icon. Social. 1024. You can use the print one if you want to get into opening Illustrator and all that stuff, but I'm not going to bother. It's not necessary because we're going to be shrinking this down anyway. Oh, I meant to... See, I keep wanting to click and drag. So there we go. There's our red play button. Let's get it onto the back of our card. And we're going to knock this down to, I don't know what size exactly. Let's look at our reference card. Oh, I should have done that. Drop it down like this for now. Apply. I need to go back to my reference card and just see what size I made this. Edit, transform, scale, and we will see, I don't want inches, I want pixels. 213, and the height was 150, so about 150. So I'm going to edit, transform, scale, and I'm going to knock this, I had it at 200, I'm going to knock this down to 150. You have to make sure that this link is there, because if you don't, and you change this, you see what happens. It starts stretching and this and that, and I don't want that. There we go. Apply. I'm just going to leave it here. It doesn't really matter where it is right this second. We're going to next get into our text just to get it on the screen. Sincerely, A. Lucy. And we're going to add one more line of text. Now, this, again, is what I would like to see. A custom URL, and let's just look at our reference card. So I did put that not in bold. Let's just try regular. I'm not going to thin for that. And I will knock it down to, do I want it the lowest? No, I want it bigger than that. We'll put that at 8, and we'll knock this up to 12. I just want to look at my reference again. There's no rule here. It's just whatever you think looks nice. And like I had said before, I tend to make everything too small when it comes to business cards. Or I shouldn't say everything, but it's a mistake that I often have made. I have not put my guides in. Let's put our guides in so we get some reference here. We don't need all this, but I'm going to do it because if you want to reference, you have your cut safe area and your text safe area. I like a lot more white space than this, but this is going to be enough to give us what we want as a reference. Now, we don't really need a center one. The most important thing we're going to add in here is our QR code before anything else. So, forgive me, I'm just going to check. There's a lot for me to remember to do this successfully. So, Drusilla, actually what I'm doing is I'm making a, right now, I'm making the tutorial video, but it's all over the place, right? Like we're live and I'm just like mixing things up here and I'm talking a lot and everything else. I'm going to chop all of this down later into what I hope will be about a 10-minute tutorial, and it's going to be very easy to follow then. So you don't have to worry about a lot of the things I'm talking about concept, about whether you want this to be your custom URL text, or if you want to put something else. That's really up to you, but I just want to show a simple concept. I'm hoping a lot of people will first of all copy me and make business cards for themselves for their channels, because I had referenced earlier, one of the best things you can do, probably the best thing you can do for the YouTube algorithm, is start a session. And what that means is taking somebody who is not already on YouTube, getting them to open YouTube up right into your content. So what I don't mean is opening YouTube, typing in your name, and then watching one of your videos. That's good. It's actually great. But the very best that you can do is start them right in. And this business card allows that, because if somebody opens up Google and types in youtube.com/your channel, that's helpful. But I'm going to show you a QR code now, which is here on our reference file. And this QR code for my friend Jeff from Do It All Ceiling is something that anybody can point their smartphone to, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, probably even a tablet, and it will automatically pop open YouTube with a page. It'll go to your channel page with a window that says, "Are you sure you want to subscribe?" So you have a 50% chance right there of somebody saying yes or no. Even if they say no, they're still on your channel. So it's a little bit of a bonus. But when you start a session, the YouTube algorithm just loves you. All the services are the same: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snap, everybody. They want you to bring people in and keep them there as long as you can. If you do that, you get favoritism like nothing else. So that's the reason that I'm doing this. I'd love to see lots of people do this for themselves. And it's very easy to design, in my opinion. I know I do it all day, so it's easy for me to say that. But you can use free programs. You don't have to use Photoshop like I'm using, and you could do the same thing. So all we're doing today is we're looking at this, and we're looking at this. To be honest with you, I could have just posted these pictures up on my Instagram and said, "Hey, copy this, it's a good idea," and then, you know, you kind of could. But I want to make a tutorial video, and so today it's an excuse, first of all, for me to go live. I can get some feedback from yourself while I'm doing this to see the kind of things that I might be missing, or ideas that I don't already have to make the tutorial video better when it's done. But I'll chop this up, like I said, into a shorter tutorial video that's very concise, hopefully 10 minutes long or somewhere around there, so that it's easy to do. I don't know when I'll get that done. I'll do it as quick as I can. I would guess a week or two. But it will be available, and then I will also make the template available in some way or another. So Daddy Joe, thanks for coming by again. I appreciate it. So the next thing we were going to do is look at our QR code. And as I did on the front, if you don't have your channel URL, your custom URL set, you can just put any tagline here that you want. I took this off of Lucy's banner art. I just copied what she had written there and put it, I don't need this page anymore, and I had just put it here. You could do the same on the back, of course, if you want to. Otherwise, you put this YouTube and then your channel. Mine happens to be Kevin Kaye. And then what we're going to do, now I'm going to grab this. If you remember, I was saying at the beginning of this video, this question mark sub underscore confirmation equals 1 changes the link so that if somebody gets this link in any way, it automatically goes to your channel page with a window that says, "Are you sure you want to subscribe?" Which gives you a, in my opinion, better than 50% chance you're going to get a subscriber before they even hit your content. So that's what we're trying to do right now. So I'm going to grab this entire URL with that code. And then I'm going to go to I'm just going to type in Kaye QR code generator. This is one that I happen to use all the time. I'm not going to make them pay for that, but I'm going to go onto their thing here. I'm going to pop in my URL. You don't need it to be dynamic. What dynamic means here, not that it matters, is that if you wanted to create a QR code where you could later go back and change the link inside, you would do that. But these are consumable. Like, you know, if you're going to print business cards and give these to people, someday they're going to be gone anyway. And I know that may not sound like the right attitude to have, but in this case, I'm not going to bother with getting into changing things a year down the road and stuff like that. We just need a QR code that does what we want it to do. So I want to continue to work with my static QR code. We don't need to sign up and get into all that stuff. And then all you got to do is right click, save image as, or save images however you save them. We're going to save it, I'm going to save it as Lucy QR, just so that I remember what that is, into my downloads folder. Now I can go into Photoshop again. You don't have to be using Photoshop like I keep saying. I just happen to be. And I'm going to File, Open. I'm going to go back to that QR code, open it up. It's going to open on its own. Now I'm just going to drag it onto the file we're working on. Now I want it a little bit bigger than that. So I'm going to go to my reference. I'm going to see how big I made this one. When I go transform and scale, I see I made it 400 pixels. So when I go to, actually I don't need this anymore, so let's get rid of our play button. I don't need the QR code by itself anymore. So this, I'm going to go edit, transform, scale. I didn't mean to rotate, doesn't matter. Press my link, and when I put it to 400, now I get a better size. Now this one, what did I do in the reference file? Did I make it? I made this an extra 1/8 of an inch away from my text safe mark, which I typically do with a lot of things. So I'm going to put one more guide in here. You certainly don't have to, but as I was saying the whole tutorial along, I like a lot of white space in between my stuff when I'm making a simple business card like this. So you need an 1/8 of an inch for cut safe, an 1/8 of an inch for text safe. Nothing important should be anywhere outside your inner guides here, which I have made. But I go one step further because I just want it that far. And we'll do it on the other side just for good measure. There we go. Now, I'm just going to slide this over. I want, because this is our text, I'm going to leave this the size that it is. You guys, you know, you're going to have to put your own channel name in, and you're going to have to play around maybe with fonts. I would use Roboto or Roboto Condensed, because those are the fonts that YouTube likes to use. And so therefore it kind of, I think it will give like a psychological, you know, almost marketing kind of thing going on in somebody's mind. They'll recognize it. You know, that might be too much. I don't know whether that's right or not, but I just think so. So I use the fonts that they like to use. Now I'm going to go on my text, and you'll see I have my little center mark here. I'm going to drag a guide over to the center mark, and this is going to allow me to then center this other text and my play button. So again, with the spacing, I want to figure out how I want to space these things. What I've done here is way too much. So let me see how I can do this in a way that looks mathematically pleasing. I'm going to drag a guide down to the top of my QR code. I'm going to drag a guide down to the bottom of my QR code. Now, when I take this text and snap it down, and I take the play button and snap it up, I can select these 3 layers, and I can go layer, align, horizontal centers. That just assures that they are absolutely horizontally centered, even though it really doesn't matter, they're close enough. And then I'm going to go layer, distribute, vertical centers. Now, actually, I don't like the way that that worked. It didn't work the way that I was hoping. So, I'll go back to my old school way of doing this. We're going to snap up our first text here. We're going to snap up our second text here. And this is a bit of a headache, but I do kind of like doing it this way. I just want to know things are mathematically correct. I don't want to just rely on my own eyesight. So I'm going to count how many pixels I'm going down. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 160 about. So I am going to drop this one down 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Now I can drop down my play button against it. I can drop up my text below it. So Reneth, thank you for coming by. Thanks for even having me running. This is a very long-winded video that I'm doing today, but I'm going to chop this up later into a concise tutorial. So what I want to do now to space these out, I am going to do it pleasing to my own eye. So I will drop this down 1 for now. I will drop the play button up 1 for now. Now I know that's not enough. So I'll drop the play button up 1 more. Maybe drop this down 1 and this down 1. And let's have a look without our guides and see how it looks. I think that that looks good enough, if not great. And like I said, I just want something simple. So I don't want to force too much opinion on you, but just to give you my 2 cents of marketing advice, we want this card that we're designing to do just one thing, which is get somebody who's not already on our YouTube channel onto our YouTube channel, and that's it. So you may feel inclined to start adding in your Instagram and your Facebook and your Twitter and everything else, but that's not the purpose of the card I'm designing today. So you're certainly welcome to, of course, do whatever you want. I hope you have better ideas than I do. But I want these to do just one thing, like I said. Okay, Drusilla, thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate the time you've spent. And hopefully the tutorial will not take me too long to get out. So when I look at my reference file, and I look at the file that we've designed today, they're fairly close. You decide for yourself exactly how you want these laid out. Since the other one looks a little different, maybe I'll drop this down again 1, I'll drop this down again 1, and I'll put this up 1. I wonder how that looks. Maybe I'll pop this up 1. I don't know how much I like this, but here we go. I could do this all day, going back and forth, measuring by a few pixels here and there. It really doesn't matter. Oh, so Daddy Joe, forgive me. So I'm going to hide your message. It's considered spam by the YouTube algorithms when you ask somebody to visit your channel or ask somebody to view your videos or anything like that. So forgive me. I had to hide your message because I just don't want you getting hit by the spam filters. So if you want to connect with somebody, then please just do me a favor. Go to their channel, watch a short video in full, leave a meaningful content regarding the information or the content of the video, give it a like if you like it, subscribe on the way out if you enjoyed the content, then come back here and just put a heart next to their name, and that will let them know that you've connected, and if they're into connecting, they will go back and do the same for you afterwards. This particular live, while everybody's welcome to connect with each other, it wasn't meant to be a growth stream, so you can connect if you'd like to, but I don't want anybody to feel pressured into having to, and I'd love it if you wouldn't mind being patient with everybody, just in case they may not be doing the same thing. So our... I keep forgetting I'm making a tutorial here. So I don't need my reference file here anymore. And there we have it. So there's the front of our business card. There's the back of our business card. The QR code holds the special... Yeah, I told you I was going to make a few bloopers and this and that. I do this all the time. Let me check my Instagram one more time, just in case she did get back to me. Okay, she hasn't yet. So, I'm going to do the same thing. Mukbangs, vlogs, challenges. I'm going to replace her thing here. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. Doesn't matter. It's just a template. So I'm just going to leave this as it is. So there's the front. Here, let me do this again. So there we go. We'll take one more look at the front of our business card where we've got our channel name, and you can either use your custom URL or any tagline that you like to let people know what your channel is about. I like it very concise and simple like this. And when we go to the back of our card, we see again the channel name with a big red YouTube play button directly from their brand resources. And this is going to remind people this is a YouTube channel. There's no confusion. I like the custom URL here, but you're certainly welcome to use a tagline if you don't have your custom URL set. And then our QR code, which contains our channel URL with the question mark sub_confirmation equals 1 code, so that people are enticed to hopefully subscribe right away. And that's really all there is to it. So if you end up using this tutorial and make business cards for yourself, especially if you change them into different... I don't like the way I'm saying that. If you end up using this tutorial to make business cards for yourself, I'd love to see what you come up with. So feel free to post them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere else, and tag me so I can have a look at what you've done. And we're going to leave this... I just have to cut that off after. And that's it. That's all there is to doing. And that's it. That's all there is to do. I wonder if I can make these windows side by side somehow. I don't know how to... Oh, can I not do that? Did I close my... Uh-oh. Oh, that's terrible. I hope I didn't just destroy all my work. Okay, there it is. Maybe I shouldn't play around. Window. Workspace, arrange. Okay. I came really close to losing my work there. That would have been entertaining. So let me save these right now. So I'm going to save my file as BizCard tutorial front. Save. And then I am going to make this one, save. And I will copy, except I will call this back. There we go. I don't want to lose them. Okay, and that gives me a chance. Let me see if I can pop my camera back on here, and I will just finish this off. There we go. My OBS out of here. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to finish the tutorial. I may change some of this later, but I'm just going to do the last exit, and then I'll have a look at the chat again, and then maybe we'll think about wrapping up the rest of this live broadcast. So that's all there is to designing your own YouTube business card for your channel. I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I'd love it if you give me some feedback. Leave a comment. Let me know what other things can be done to improve on this design, or things you might have taken away or changed for your own. If you've made a business card from this tutorial, please let me see it. Post it on either Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and tag me or send me a link. I'd love to see your work. And if you know anybody who can get some value out of this video, I'd love it if you'd share it. Hopefully you'll subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video from kevinkaye.com. Take care. Bye-bye. So that's how I typically finish the videos. So we're done for today. And I really appreciate you hanging out and chilling with me while I do this. I know I was kind of all over the place, as I always am. But I will chop this up, and I will make a concise tutorial video that I will try to put up within the next week or two. And then that will make it much easier to follow along and be able to do something like this. The purpose is I certainly want you to copy me and make something like this for yourself. I really think that it's going to help you and project your channel into the stratosphere with the algorithm by doing what I was talking about with starting sessions. And that's just about it as far as the tutorial. So Jeff's having trouble, but I don't know what to think about that. I'm actually going to start wrapping this up. So if anybody has any more feedback or any questions or anything like that, I'd love it if you just type them into the chat right now. And then I will start thinking about cutting this whole operation down for now. I should remind you, please, for those of you who are going to be around in an hour and a half, I'm going to be joining Sincerely A Lucy, and let's get back to her channel, and I'll just show you. Here she is. Maybe I can get her channel and put it in the chat for you as well. I'm going to be joining her in about an hour and a half on a live broadcast. We're just going to talk YouTube and a few other things. Copy link address. There you go. So I've just dropped Lucy's link into the chat. So if you want to get subscribed to her and be ready, we will be on, like I said, in about an hour and a half. We're just going to have a light, fun talk between the two of us. I really love the idea of collaborating with people, so I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know what to expect. You'll be as surprised as I will, but I'd love it if you could hop in there and keep us company and add to the discussion. So otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up now. So thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It makes it a lot more fun for me to be able to do this and chit-chat while I'm working, because this kind of stuff I do all the time. You know, basically all day. Half my full-time job is YouTube and graphic design stuff that goes along with it. So I appreciate having you with me. And I'm going to wrap this up for now. So I hope you're subscribed to me, and I will catch you on the next video.